The truth of the matter is that when you are on the spiritual path, when you are on the path to self-improvement, when you are genuinely trying to do the things that you need to do to be the best version of yourself, you are in a entirely different bracket than any other person that is around you, most likely in your community. And people will notice this. People will notice this. But if you are realizing that the people that you're surrounded by and surrounded around are living a lie, there are a couple of things that you are probably going to want to address. Now, first of all, before I get into that as well, if you support content like this, please like, subscribe, or comment to this channel. And without further ado, let's get more into the topic. So, the reason that you are seeing that people are living a lie and you're starting to notice these differences within you, and you may be realizing that you're feeling drained around certain people now. This wasn't the case before. You used to feel energized, at least so you thought, around these people. You thought you had a connection with these people. You thought that you actually had mutual understandings with these kinds of people. But now, as time goes on and you're growing and you're maturing and you are recognizing that peace may not be possible with these kinds of people anymore. Now, what did Christ say when he came down to earth? He said that I came not to bring peace, but a sword. And so what exactly does that mean? It means that you have to cut through spiritually with your spiritual sword the illusions of your own reality. And sometimes that means that you have to acknowledge when you're feeling drained around certain people or when people are just highly anxious or anything like that. Like, there's been times where I met people in my life where, specifically in the early part of my spiritual journey about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, where I would meet certain people and I thought their anxiety was energy, but what it really was chaos. And so that chaos was almost being transmuted into my energy. And the thing is that the people that you spend time with and around really are the kinds of people that you're going to become in one way, shape, or form. One way that you can cancel this, or at least minimize the impact of those around you, if you do not want to become like those kinds of people, if you're feeling drained around these kinds of toxic people, don't look them in the eye. What I think is that, you know, there's a saying that the eyes are the windows of the soul, but what I think is that the eyes are the windows and the spiritual portals to the spiritual realm. And so when you look someone in the eyes and you are spiritually awakened, people that are trying to drain your energy, you're going to be able to notice that if you are on a high enough frequency and vibration. Now, what exactly does that mean? What is a high vibration or frequency? Well, it's likely the case that if you're feeling drained around certain people, they have a low energy and a low frequency. So their thoughts are often accumulated and, I guess you could say, filled with these self-shaming tactics or self-sabotaging thoughts, or a lot of worrying type of energy as well. And you can think about this in ways of how there's levels to each emotion or state of mind that you have. And Dr. Hawkins has done a great job at this in the maps of consciousness, which I've talked about in a previous video in early January this year, I believe. But essentially, there's levels to consciousness. And so what that means is that at the base level of consciousness, it's shame, fear, these kinds of negative energies. And then in the midsection, there's like pride or envy or jealousy. And then as you get further to the top, there's reason, love, and then bliss and absolute enlightenment. Now, how did he record these levels of consciousness per se? And what is the significance of knowing this when we're talking about why you feel drained around people? Well, it's because you're likely on the path of self-development. If you're watching this channel and still watching this video, you're in the higher levels. You are operating on a more spiritual level, even though you may not even know it. I've had consultations with people in the past, couple months, I would say, where it's very clear that they're more aware and awake than they realize. And what they don't know in that is that, they don't understand why the people around them are behaving in certain ways. It's like, why don't people want to change for the better? That's a good question. That's a really good question. Why don't people want to change for the better? Well, because they are more comfortable living the lie. And you have to make it known with your spiritual sword that you're not messing around and that you don't want to mess around. You take life seriously, and there's nothing wrong with taking life seriously. I'm not saying you can't have fun. At the gym, I take the gym very seriously when I'm there, but if a good song comes on while the music is playing and I'm working out, in between sets, yeah, I'll just kind of dance a little bit to myself and rock on, and then I'll get right back to it. But for the most part, I genuinely have a spiritual relationship with working out. I have a deep relationship with wanting to go above and beyond my limitations, because I believe transcending limitations is the key to having that limitlessness mindset. When you can see the results through time, that you have the potential for limitlessness, then there's nothing to stop you. And that's a very encouraging thought, specifically in regard to yourself. And just, I think it's a matter of not thinking less of yourself, but acknowledging what more you could do. And so there's a fine balance there, but that's another level of consciousness that you're going to have to reach. That's a reasonable thing to think about. But a lot of the people in our society do not have reason. They do not have the ability to discern what is actually the right thing to do. And a lot of the times when I hear people talking at the gym specifically, again, their bodies are in good shape. They're in top shape. But their mentality, their psychology, God knows where they're at. They are just somewhere else. And it just goes to show that you can have a healthy mind and a healthy body, quote unquote, but if you don't have a healthy spirit, you're not going to get very far in life. And when you live as if you are in the different bracket, which you are, and people notice that, it's going to be very challenging to their overall belief systems. Because here you are, somebody that's actually striving for more and more every day. You're not stopping. And that can intimidate. And something that I've realized the more I go on in just my personal life of success, which I wouldn't even consider myself highly successful, but I'm way better off than I ever was, and at any time in my life otherwise. Like, I am at the pinnacle of my physical, emotional, spiritual, overall wellness. Like, there's just nothing about my situation right now that isn't what I couldn't make any better than it is already. Apart from knowing that I'm doing everything that I can to make it so. But that does not mean that it still cannot be improved. That doesn't mean that there's still not any more. Well, how do I say this? It's there's still a lot of work to do, and it's not like I'm done. It's not like the job's done. But I've done as much as I can to be who I am today. And it's not as though I can't make myself any better. It's just that this is the best version that I have to put myself forward with. There's no other way for me to go right now. Like, this is my best, what I'm providing today. And so I genuinely believe in that you should strive to do your best every single day. The fact that you are trying your best makes a lot of these people that are living in the lie and the illusions, it makes them drown in regret. Because they realize when they're sitting alone at night, like, damn, maybe I'm not doing enough. And that usually is a sign of doubt, right? Which is another level on the scale of consciousness. But what does that doubt do? Doubt either motivates you to do better, or you succumb to the inferiority complex that exists within doubt. And so you have to understand your own psychology as well. If you don't understand your own psychology, you're going to defeat yourself. And if you defeat yourself, well, then what's the what's the whole purpose of anything that you're doing? If you're not even on your own team, how are you going to help yourself? And so if you're going to be on Team Healthy, then Team Healthy is where you're going to have to place your effort and commit to your purpose too. And you're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to fight for your health every single day. That's why I'm taking gym so seriously right now. That's why I'm taking my diet more seriously right now. I'm eating way more greens than I ever have in my life, actually. And I'm making sure I'm staying on top of my protein. And I've just reduced my carbs by about 20% over the past couple weeks. And the reason being is just because I want to get a little bit more lean while still maintaining the muscle mass. And so my goal is to treat every aspect of my life as a professional. If I'm not treating every aspect of my life as a professional, I don't really see the point in even trying. And so that's the kind of mentality that when you're around these kinds of people, it's going to affect that mentality on you. You're going to feel as though it's almost like they're bad. I wouldn't say bad vibes per se. I don't like saying that, but it's like their influence of idiocy and stupidity almost makes you more stupid and an idiot. And I feel that way sometimes when I'm around these kinds of people. It's like I feel like I have to dumb myself down to just speak to you, because if I were to come at you and to be in my full form of confidence, it's like it would be too much. And I've had that interaction, that type of interaction before with people where I express exactly what I want and my confidence level, and they just look at me as if they're just shocked. It's like, what? And I've been told in the past that when I really do show the determination that I want something, that it can be kind of intimidating. But for the most part, I'm a fairly calm, collected, humble individual. And that may sound like a juxtaposition, but it's the truth. I don't really seek a lot of power or attention. Even though I'm interested in power and attention, I don't necessarily seek it. I just know that it's going to be a byproduct of me changing myself. And so that's where I know true power comes from, is by changing your own habits or behaviors and manifesting something within you to change and be a co-creator with the world around you. And I've noticed this with my relationships with women as well. It's funny, like when I had way less confidence, they would, like, I'd be treated like I was a trick. And this was in my early 20s, late teens. And now, when I do have that confidence, it intimidates them sometimes. And it's just like, man, you know, I'm not trying, like, even when I try to show that I'm, you know, I don't want to, like, I'm trying to be gentle and I'm trying to be stern at the same time. It's still a process of learning how to communicate with the person in front of me. Because sometimes, and I think this happens with a lot of men in general with semen retention, it's like your aura just can be so strong that it can be overpowering. Like, I was just standing next to a woman at the gym one time, and it was like she was like hyperventilating around me. She was just, and it wasn't because she was like going super hard on her workout or anything like that. It was just like, I could tell and read the energy intuitively that just being around me, she was experiencing like this controlled chaos that I had inside me. And that is inside every single man that is on semen retention. I truly believe that. When you're actually doing it for the right reasons and the right purpose. And for the sake of sexual transmutation. But this is going to be something that you're going to have to look out for women as well. If you're, celibate, you're turning to God, you're trying to really make solid changes in your life, maybe not being so promiscuous, or you're trying to actually be modest. You're not trying to get the attention of people. And yet somehow you keep finding that you do keep getting that attention. This is going to be something where the men are going to try to steal your energy. And the men out there that are going to try to that do notice this, they're going to try to take advantage. Make no mistake. And you as a woman have to be able to discern when a man is trying to take advantage and he's trying to drain your life force, or he's trying to create something with you. He wants to make something with you. And I mean, this can go for anybody really, but I think a lot of the times the good women that are just starting out fresh have a very hard time discerning. And this is a very psychological thing. Like Jordan Peterson's talked about this, that oftentimes younger women can't discern the difference between a competent man and a bad boy. And the reason for that is because they both exhibit certain kinds of traits of confidence. And so women biologically just get attracted to this confidence, but at the same time, that confidence may not equate to confidence. And so with men, you have to be able to discern when a woman is trying to use her sexual energy to drain your life force. Because a lot of the times these women out here that are emotional vampires, they use their sexual allure to almost draw out your, like, I don't know how else to say it other than like drawing out your semen. I don't know how, like, it sounds weird to say that, but I've had women that are trying to place themselves in my vicinity, and it makes you makes you feel some things, and it's very instinctual. It's not like a conscious feeling. It's more like I just felt their energy next to me, and it was like, whoa. Like I could feel that they were trying to demonstrate their availability to me. And so that was that only started happening within the last year or two, but it's almost like you get to the point on your journey where, like specifically as a man, whether you're on semen retention or whether you're just leveling up in life successfully, it's like women will just like jump in front of you to try to get your attention. It's wild. I mean, it's great, but it's wild. I didn't realize how true that really was, how women wait at the finish line. And I would wait at the finish line too if I was a woman. 100%. 100%. But I think I've covered everything that I want to cover in this video. Just make sure that if you're living around or being around someone that is living a lie, you have to cut through the illusions spiritually, and don't look them in the eye if you don't have to, because that will be an exchange of energy. And sometimes it can be very difficult, I understand, but we have to do what we have to do out here. So with that being said, if you'd like to schedule a consultation session with me, please email me in the link below. I also have my website up if you want to check out any art or t-shirts available. And then what else? What other housekeepings do we have? I've got some things in the pipeline for you guys. I'll be making an announcement within the next week. And with that being said, peace be with you. Till next time.